Hello, everybody. This is Bob Milam again with another study topic session for the 2024 football season from the Utah High School Activities Association. Welcome, and today's topic will be dead ball mechanics. And you're probably wondering, why are we studying this? Well, that's actually what we're going to cover today. Why are we even talking about this subject of dead ball mechanics? Aren't we supposed to officiate the live ball portions of the game? Well, yes, we are. But the dead ball portion is very important, so we're going to cover that as well. What exactly we're going to talk about is what exactly that means. What are the dead ball mechanics? We're going to focus on the most frequent situations where we use these dead ball mechanics. We'll detail the routine needed and then sum everything up and leave some time for questions. And hopefully, as you watch this video with your associations, I will prompt you to stop the video at certain points and conduct discussion. So let's get started. So why are we even talking about this? Why focus on mechanics at all for that matter? After all, we have a book we can read and it's a really well done reprinted book, in fact. But we need to focus on what mechanics are. We need to understand what they are and why we have them. They cover where we should stand on the field, what our responsibilities are, how we move, where we look, how we signal, what we do. And there's probably other things that could describe mechanics, but I did find this definition in one of the Referee magazine reprints. Mechanics, it says, are the physical manifestation of an official's mental knowledge of the rules. So this is how we demonstrate how well we know our jobs and how good we are at doing them. And this is why we need to focus on mechanics in addition to rules knowledge. Well, why dead ball mechanics? We understand why we need mechanics, but why dead ball mechanics? I mean, that's why everything is stopped. So let's take a look and try and define what dead ball time is versus what live ball time is. And frankly, the rules define these two intervals found in Rule 211 and 212. And simply, live ball time is during the down, after the ball is either free kicked or snapped, and until it becomes dead. That's our live ball time. And dead ball time is everything else other than the live ball time. So, exactly how do we spend our time when we're in charge of a football game? During our authority window for each game, what percentage of our time is actually spent on each one? I think it's kind of interesting if we look at that. So, let's take a look at the dead ball time versus the live ball time. So, if we enter the field and at a varsity game at around 6:30 p.m. and we leave the field at around 10 p.m., that gives us about 3.5 hours total that we're involved with the contest, or rounded off about 200 minutes total. So for math purposes, I just rounded it down by 10 minutes. Some games are going to be longer, some are going to be shorter, but I think that's a reasonable expectation. We're on the field a half an hour early. The game takes somewhat less than 3 hours unless you're in a really bad sophomore game, and then you could start at 3 in the afternoon and not be done until 10 o'clock. But we're not going to cover that right now. So 3.5 hours. So if we look at that and we divide the time, well, let's take a look at how much of our percentage is spent in live ball time and how much is spent in dead ball time. And if you think about it, a varsity game typically has about 180 plays over the course of the game. When you look in huddle, generally speaking, some are less, some are more than that. But if each play were to take an average of 6 seconds each, and you multiply that out, then our live ball time during the interval that we're at the field is about 18 minutes long. And our dead ball time is everything else. So 18 minutes of the time that we spend at the game is actually spent on the live ball time, and everything else is dead ball time. So if you do the math, that gives us about 18 minutes of live ball time and 182 minutes of dead ball time. That's over 90% of the time that we're there is spent in dead ball time activity. So let's see if we can work on that 90% somehow and see if we can get better when the ball is dead. And that'll make us better officials, frankly, for when the ball is live. So, what are dead ball mechanics? Well, again, mechanics are the physical manifestation of an official's mental knowledge of the rules, and dead ball mechanics are everything we do during all the dead ball time. So what is the dead ball time? Well, we've got before game on the field, we've got the coin toss, the national anthem, timeouts, halftime, between periods, entering and exiting the field, all of these things, and then we have between downs. And the thing that we need to note is that these activities that I've highlighted here may apply once or twice over the course of the night, maybe a few more times than that, but it's going to be very infrequent. The between downs times happens over and over again. So we are going to focus on dead ball mechanics that occur between downs. And the other stuff we will cover in other training. But tonight we're going to focus here. So, what happens between downs? Why is this so important? Well, this is the time that we have to complete the action from the previous down. A lot of things happen while the football is live, and we have to assemble and report all of that information and solve whatever problems come out of that. And there could be many. There could be fouls, there could be equipment issues, there could be substitution problems, the down box may be wrong. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. So we've got to spend some time to solve those problems during the dead ball interval. And it's an opportunity then to communicate with the crew and with the sideline. We can't do it while the ball's live. That's very hard to do. But we can do it during the dead ball interval. And then we have to prepare for the next down. So these are the things that we do. This is why it's important that we pay attention to dead ball mechanics between downs. And because it is not rest time. This is not a union coffee break where we get to just relax, let our guard down, put our feet up, sip some lemonade, and sit in the shade. Not this time. It is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your knowledge and focus and command of the game of football. And that's the way you should look at it. It's an opportunity for you to take care of a lot of these things that are listed above here, and we're going to go into detail about what they are. So, what we did, we took a look at the dead ball mechanics between downs, and we divided this into kind of three main task areas that we're going to cover. The first involves all of the activities associated with wrapping up the previous down. Second, we then need to verify the status of a lot of different things to make sure that all the actions will continue legally from this point forward and according to the rules and policies and procedures of football. So we've got to verify that everything is on track and we're not heading off toward a cliff at some point. Third, we need to prepare for the upcoming down that's about to start in a few seconds. So all of this activity has to take place within about a 40 to 60-second window that we have between downs on each snap. So let's take a look at them, and let's take a look at them one by one. So first, as we wrap up the previous down, I'm going to go through a laundry list of things here that need to happen to make sure that the previous down is administered properly. Number one, blow your whistle. We never blow the whistle while the ball is live. Only blow your whistle while the ball is dead. We could spend a whole session talking and training about the proper technique and the right way and the right time to blow a whistle. But this is the first thing that we do. Then you're going to signal the progress spot. Maybe it's incomplete, touchdown, safety, touchback, fair catch, whatever. So you're going to have to give a signal, and that's a visual signal to indicate the ball is now dead, in addition to your audio signal of blowing your whistle. You'll have to measure the line to gain. Are you beyond it or short of it? Clocks. You'll have to know whether you're in or out of bounds for the game clock. Is the play clock reset and ready and running properly to end the end of the down? Did it reset as it was supposed to? Who has the ball? Sometimes we have to signal who has the ball at the end of the down. Sometimes it's obvious, but other times we need to signal that. We need to report any fouls and administer them. We also have to make sure that the chain and the down box movements are managed, that they don't move too quickly, and that they move at the proper way to report what happened during the down. We also have to communicate with the sideline. This could mean getting penalty choices or reporting numbers to coaches. We have to verify that the ball is placed down in the right spot. And there could be a lot of other things. And at this point, you might want to stop this tape and have a discussion about some of the details associated with each of these specific activities that have to do with wrapping up the previous down. So take a moment. All right, hopefully you've had an opportunity to pause the video at this point, and we'll now move on to the next section. This section, we verify status that everything is right. This can involve monitoring players for dead ball personal fouls, unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal equipment that involves an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Any of those things, we've got to monitor those players all throughout the dead ball interval. We also have to verify player equipment and fix and replace it if it's improperly worn. So we need to take those steps as well that do not involve a penalty, but may involve an equipment adjustment or a player replacement. We've got to watch and ensure that the substitutions are conducted legally. We have to verify both clocks that they're either moving or stopped as appropriate and they're not going off in a different direction than what we expect. We have to note the game time remaining, which becomes important as we approach the end of the first or second half. We also have to verify the correctness of the down box and chains as we go. We need to make sure that nothing that has been flipped correctly, the chains are in the right spot, and the down box is as well. We have to verify our ball placement as well. Is it in the right place before we go on to the next down? And if there is anything wrong in any of these areas, we've got to make the right decision and stop and fix it here. This is an important point. If we are seeing that the game clocks are wrong and not moving as appropriate, we may need to stop the game. If the down box and the chains are not correct, we've got to stop that. So we've got to make sure that all of these things happen and that they get fixed before they snowball into larger problems. So once again, stop the tape here, talk about any of these that you'd like to, and we'll pick it up here in a second. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to stop the tape and discuss. So let's move ahead to our final area. This one is to prepare for the upcoming down, and we have another long list of things that you need to do. First, remind the sideline to clear the restricted area when the ball becomes live. Let's avoid having sideline warnings and sideline interference calls if we can. We can prevent a lot of those. We need to count the players and signal that to the crew and those that are looking for that visual signal and count. We have to communicate goal line responsibility. This can involve all five of the crew at some point during the game. You may have goal line responsibility, and it needs to be clear when you do. So make sure that you're communicating with the crew the responsibility for covering the goal line, whether it's coming in or going out. We have to verify the legality of the formations. Make sure that the wide receivers and split ends are in their proper positions, either on or off the line. If there are tackle overs or unbalanced lines, or any numbering irregularity prior to the snap, we need to make sure that we are aware of it and we've signaled the crew in an appropriate manner. So verify the formation, legality, and irregularities. We have to signal snapper protection when it's needed. We have a mechanic for that. When they're in a scrimmage kick formation, we need to make sure that all are aware that the snapper has protection. We have to alert the crew to any live ball on any field goal attempts. Remember, field goal attempts are handled differently than tries or extra points. So make sure that you alert the crew that we are in a live ball situation. We have to identify our initial keys prior to the snap to know who we're going to watch first. So make sure that we identify who those players are and where they are in the formation. We also have to be alert for timeout requests that may come from the sideline and may come from a team box that's quite a ways from where you're standing. As you approach the goal line and as we approach the end of quarters and halves, these become more and more important. So make sure that you're alert for timeout requests from the coaches on the sideline. Finally, we have to assure that the snap is legal and that we have neutral zone integrity prior to the snap. No encroachment and no false starts. So we have to assure a legal snap and neutral zone integrity. A lot of things to think about here. So again, if there are other things that you want to add to the list, or if there's things that you want to discuss, this is another good spot to stop and talk about any of these areas and how and why we need to do them. And these are things that need to occur on every single play. All right, hopefully you've had a chance to do that. Let's sum up what we've talked about and presented and introduced to you today. That's all that we've been able to really do here is to make an introduction of these topics. I would expect that you would use this video to go back and have discussion and training centered around any of these areas where you're noticing particular problems or issues. But let's sum up what we've talked about today. Remember, mechanics are our manifestation of our knowledge of the rules. So make sure that our mechanics demonstrate how well we're in command of the game and how we know the rules. Over 90% of our time is actually spent during the dead ball intervals that we're responsible for, and the majority of that, or the most frequent dead ball time, occurs between downs. It might occur between 150 and 170 times over the course of a game. So we should get good at this routine. We need to get good at this routine in order to be good during the live ball intervals. Between downs, the dead ball mechanics kind of fall into these three main areas that we talked about and we went through in some detail. And there's lots of individual tasks to complete in each area and lots of training to be done in each of these areas. And probably each official needs to take a look at where you fall and what you need to do better. So make sure that the dead ball mechanics are completed for each of these task areas and that you're on track. And remember, championship level officials master these things and they execute all of these things consistently between every down of every game that they officiate. And that's our goal. That's what we're trying to get to. So, with that, I want to thank you for your time. If you have questions, you can always reach me here. And we hope you have a good, successful season here in 2024. Thanks for watching.